Eduard Heinrich Rudolph David was a German politician. He was an important figure in the history of the Social Democratic Party of Germany and of the German political labor movement. After the German Revolution of 1919, he was Minister of the Interior in the Cabinet Bauer from June 1919 to October 1919 and served as minister, without portfolio, in other cabinets, including the very first democratically elected government of the Weimar Republic. David was also briefly the first president of the Weimar National Assembly, which drew up the Weimar Constitution and ratified the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. Early life. Eduard David was born on the 11th of June 1863 in Edgar, Mosel, as the son of Eduard Heinrich David, a Prussian civil servant, and his wife Wilhelmine Elisabeth. After completing a 4-year commercial apprenticeship, David studied at the university at Gießen, where he was introduced to socialist ideals. He then became a teacher at a gymnasium and in 1893 founded the Mitteldeutsche Sonntagszeitung, a newspaper. His support for the Social Democratic Party led to his dismissal from the civil service in 1894. David was married twice. In 1896, he married Gertrude Swide-Erskine, and in 1911 Hermann Schmidt. Political career. In the 1890s, David became a proponent of agricultural policies favoring small holdings, arguing for the viability in a series of articles in the Sozialdemokrat in August and September 1894. It was the first socialist assault on the universality of the Marxist teaching that small holdings would increasingly be replaced by large estates, making David the first revisionist of his party. From 1896, David was a member of the Landtag of Hesse and after 1903 a member of the Reichstag for the SPD. He was one of the leading politicians of the majority SPD when the party split during the First World War and was instrumental in framing his party's policy stand on the war. In October 1918, when the SPD became part of the imperial government for the first time under the new Chancellor Max von Baden, David became Under-Secretary at the Foreign Office. In February 1919, David was elected President of the new National Assembly, but as part of a deal establishing the first democratically elected government, the Cabinet Bauer, he relinquished that post in favor of Konstantin Fehrenbach and became minister without portfolio under the new minister-president, Philipp Scheidemann. After Scheidemann's cabinet resigned in June 1919 in protest over the stipulations of the Treaty of Versailles, a new government was formed by Gustav Bauer and David became Reichsminister-Designate, a position he held from the 21st of June to the 4th of October 1919. In early October, the German Democratic Party, which had left the coalition government in June, rejoined, thus re-establishing the Weimar coalition of SPD, DDP and Zentrum. Erich Kochwetter took over as Minister of the Interior and David once again was Minister without portfolio. He retained this position in the first cabinet of Hermann Müller, who formed the new government when the Cabinet Bauer resigned in March 1920. In 1922, David was appointed Reichsbeauftragter in Hessen from 1923 to 1927. He taught political sciences at what was then the Technische Hochschule, Darmstadt. He died on the 24th of December 1930 in Berlin. David is now considered one of the key personages of the history of the political labor movement in Germany, as he influenced the development of the SPD in the pre-World War I period as one of the leading advocates of reformistic policies. Werkzweig und Mitteleinheitliche Organisation der deutschen Studentenschaft, 1888. Sozialismus und Landwirtschaft, 1903. Referentenführer, 1907. Sozialdemokratie und Vaterlandsverteidigung 1915. Die Sozialdemokratie im Weltkrieg 1915. Wer trat die Schuld im Krieg 1917. Die Siedlungsgesetzgebung 1921. Die Fahne der Deutschen Republik 1921. Die Befreiung Europa 1926. Aus Deutschlands schwerste Zeitschriften und Reden aus den Jahren 1914 to 1927.